And this one is blocked. He got tripped up as Edmondson chopped him down, and this game has gone final. Austin Matthews with a game winner and 2 assists. And the Boston Bruins and Toronto Maple Leafs are tied up at 1 as this series is going to head north of the border for Game 3 on Wednesday night. Your final: Maple Leafs 3 and the Bruins 2.
Well, it's some Joe show. We've seen it. Nobody wants to be there. It's some big bad show tonight. Just can't take this damn parade. Who cares? Yeah, Joe show. There's a 2-mile wait to get past the damn green line.
Anyone who gets scared by a bear in the neighborhood, call Joe Murray.
All right, welcome in 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Full show here tonight. No games. Bruins off tonight. Celtics off tonight as well. And you get a full Joe show tonight. Whole crew here as well. Skaz, Ryan Bell, our intern, doing a fine job. Our friends over on YouTube tonight chatting in, watching along. You can join us, of course, right there. Just go to youtube.com, 98.5 The Sports Hub, bing, bang, boom. And you can chat in, watch the show on your television app, however. We'll be hanging out with you. Everything on the table tonight. We mentioned Bruins and Celtics. The NFL draft is on Thursday night. We got a special remote that we'll tell you about throughout the show tonight as well. I'll be joined by Alex Barth for draft night. It's going to be fun times. Some Red Sox news that has come out throughout the day. I know we just had the baseball hour here. Carabas was here and Tony Maz. So we're going to touch on everything tonight. We got in or out. We got the musings, and who knows? We got some special guests tonight for you as well. The phone number is 617-779-0985. Where do you want to start? I'm starting Bees. I worked the game last night. Myself and Skaz were here. We worked until midnight. A little disappointing in the effort by the Bees, considering how bad they have played at home over the last few years. Home ice should be an advantage. It wasn't last night. I personally thought they got off to a good start, considering some of the mistakes that they made. They were hitting early on, too. But the Bruins blew a chance to go up 2-0. The Leafs have played 2 games now without Nylander. The Bees have had the momentum early. I mentioned those big hits, McAvoy, Marchand, even Pastrnak was in the mix as far as from being physical. They set the tone early and had a lead 2-1 after even making some mistakes. Morgan Geekie lit the lamp. 14 seconds later, though, Domi tied the game. It was just back to an even contest, and then David Pastrnak scored on a great pass by Pavel Zacha. Things were going the Bruins' way. They were playing physical hockey and scoring, although still making mistakes. They also got great goaltending from Linus Ullmark, who we'll certainly get into, and the fact that 2 different goalies started 2 different games, where do they go in Game 3, we'll certainly get into that tonight. We'll be joined by Ty Anderson later tonight, 98.5thesports.com. Getting to join us here on a nice little full show here. But in the second period, that's when things started to change for the Bees. I don't know if it was a lack of awareness. They were down a defenseman, excuse me. Peak, who's now listed as week to week. They were down, so maybe that had something to do with it. But mistakes, turnovers, too many men on the ice, crucial penalties. Matt Grzelcyk with a bad penalty. Got the Leafs on the board. And one goal was called off. The other stayed on. I mentioned being down the defenseman. The Bruins started making more mistakes And the physicality of playoff hockey being down a man showed. Miscue from Charlie McAvoy on Austin Matthews' goal. Got past him on that breakaway. And that was the go-ahead goal. That was it. The Bees tried to come back. Samsonov was good late. But there are some question marks regarding the Bruins last night. And one of them is late in the power play, what's Patrick Maroon doing on the ice? How is he getting ice time in that situation? Also, where was Charlie McAvoy in those situations? If there's two guys that I circle and say you need to get more out of in this series, it's Charlie McAvoy and it's Brad Marchand. Now, first off, I want to give the Leafs credit. I thought they adjusted last night. We talked about this last night after the game. Bob Beers brought it up during the broadcast. But Toronto made a few adjustments. They packed it in a little bit more. Right? They were holding sticks so guys couldn't get off the ice. They were being more physical. They also eliminated any chance for rebounds for the Bees. It worked. And now they head back home with momentum. It took them 9 games to beat the Bruins this season. Think about that. It was the first time they knocked off the Bees all year in 9 straight games. And now they have the momentum in the series as it switches now to Toronto. But I called out a few players who need to be better, specifically offensively. And I know that defense was their problem, but Charlie McAvoy has struggled offensively. 2 goals his last 45 games. None on the power play. Charlie Coyle, 3 goals last 20 games. Pavel Zacha. I mean, you look at it here, those guys need to play better, and Brad Marchand, they just need more out of these guys. So, a little disappointing last night for the Bees. But another thing that's disappointing is now they might have a new defensive pairing. Now you have question marks regarding the goaltending. Now you may question Jim Montgomery. Now the pressure is on the Bruins. Like Toronto, they've been here. They failed in this spot. They finally got over the hump a year ago, but they're without one of their best players. Their goaltending hasn't been great, and it was last night. The pressure is now on the Bruins. And the fact that the errors that they have made, there's no margin for error going forward here. But I do want to get into the goaltending. I'm sure that's what everyone talked about all day today. But Jim Montgomery said it's now a series. The team had a chance to go up 2-0 and finally win a game after taking game 1. And again, the struggles at home for the Bruins, it's tough to watch. And here we are now after another playoff series, 2 games of a playoff series. And we're still talking about the defense. We're mentioning Matt Grzelcyk being undersized and not being on the ice, and still wondering who is going to be in net. It's frustrating. It's called Bruins. How are your thoughts on that at 617-779-0985? I did want to get into the goaltending, which is not the reason why they lost last night. We'll get into all that coming up here on the other side. I'm Joe Murray. Again, the phone number is 617-779-0985. You can join us on YouTube as well. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
as well. But net money decision, all mark tonight. What went into that, and any second guesses as a result of what took place?
No second guesses. He was terrific. He made multiple big-time saves, and it's the strength of our team. Both of them played really well, right? I mean, we only scored 2 goals.
We got a full show tonight. I see our friends already on the YouTube chatting in. It's a good way to get involved in the show, everybody. I usually read them all. Oh, that was Jim Montgomery talking about the Bees last night and the goaltending. Somebody wants to know how old I am. I don't know if we should start with that one tonight, Skaz. That one, talking about my age the other night, really bothered some people the other day. This whole series, I'm going to think, what year is this? Just hearing Domi, Bertuzzi, Samsonov, it's starting to mess with me. That's kind of funny. Like when you do think about it. Yep. Bertuzzi last night, chopping it up with Marchand. That was a real dirty play. I feel like Toronto played the way they wanted to last night. Maybe they do have more talent or scoring ability than the Bruins, but doesn't it feel like the Bees are well coached? Their goaltending is better. You know, at least maybe 1 through 6, they're deeper. I don't know, just they have some great players. Just feel like the Bruins, I don't know, they just look like the better team to me. I don't know. I'm not worried yet about the series, but I'll tell you this. I think the momentum has shifted in this series. So your thoughts at 617-779-0985. You just heard in the highlight there, Jim Montgomery liked the effort from Linus Ullmark last night. I agree. His quote, no second guesses, Jim Montgomery, after playing Ullmark over Swayman. He was terrific. He made multiple big-time saves. It's the strength of our team. Both of them played really well, and we only scored 2 goals. I agree. The goaltending kept them in the game last night. Now, the mistakes that happened in front of Ullmark would have happened in front of Swayman too. So I'll at least say that. I don't think they lost last night because of the goalie. Now, as far as a mindset goes or as far as the playoffs go, there's some uncharted waters here. Uncharted waters that's never been done before. Back-to-back goalies, a rotation. It's just they did it the last 26 games of the regular season. They did this, and before the game, I'm trying to remember who it was who said that. So a woman from ESPN mentioned that they knew about a week ago the goaltending setup. But when you I don't know if it's gamesmanship who the goaltender is not. But Jim Montgomery did say the decision for who would be in net in Game 2 was made by the staff over a week ago. And it's something, again, we've never seen before. But Ullmark, couldn't stop Austin Matthews on a breakaway. Not many people do. I really don't look at him as the guy that is the reason why they lost last night. I go to McAvoy, Marchand, guys like that. But despite the loss, Ullmark was in very good spirits last night. He did make some really good saves. He had a great glove save on the right side. That was outstanding. And in the third period, a tie game, he made a really nice glove save on Roberson. It was a nice rebound chance that he had there. But I didn't think there were any softies. And the Bruins just could have been better defensively on all of the goals last night. They also needed to be better offensively. Like, the guy does need some support. You supported Swayman with 5 goals the other night. How many true chances did the Bees have last night? Ullmark faced a ton of them. And Montgomery said of the lack of quality offensive looks all night long. He thought it was he gave credit. He actually did give credit to Toronto, who did change their style. He mentioned that the Bees were slow in transition, and the Leafs couldn't allow them to possess pucks, and they couldn't get into the forecheck. So, and Marchand had a shot. He had a shot there. Danton Heinen, I know Frederick had one at one point. But there weren't many chances later on in the game there. So, do they get their offense back with Swayman in net in Game 3? The Leafs have life and the momentum heading back home. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. Let's talk to Mike. He is in North Andover. What's going on, Mike? You're on the Sports Hub.
Hey, how's it going? Just had a question about the Bruins.
Yeah.
What do you think the Bruins need to do to win this series going back into Toronto? What's the number one thing they can do that will get them back on track? Thank you. Kirsten Prue.
Is that a shout out to his crew at the end? I didn't hear it. What do I think they need to do? I mean, last night was a winnable game. Score. Like, you were still in the game. You had bad penalties, too many men on the ice, turned the puck over. You were still in the game. You're still in. How about you score more? And you don't turn the puck over. And don't make silly mistakes. And don't get out physical. And I went on a super giant rant about this last night. Well, I'll do it one more time. If you look at this team, it's Lindholm and it's McAvoy at the top. They're really, really top heavy. But Brandon Carlo had a really good game one, and last night was fine. He was fine. A couple of shots on net. After that, what do the Bees truly have? I mean, Peake actually played well. He's hurt now. He's week to week. So then what is it, Grzelcyk? We're still talking about Grzelcyk in the playoffs. We're still doing it. Still. How many years now have we done this Grzelcyk defense thing? It's happening again. I don't know. At this point, I think you got to replace the guy. And they brought up Lowry today. I don't know if he'll get any action, but you're going Wotherspoon going forward, right? But yeah, we're still talking about the defense. Shattenkirk, right? You just continue to talk about this defense. Every year in the playoffs, every year. Oh, it is so frustrating talking about the defense and Grzelcyk. It's the same thing. Best team in hockey last year, we were still doing it. This year, one of the best teams in hockey, here we are, still doing it. It's extremely frustrating. They're still in the spot. They're still in the spot where Grzelcyk is getting overpowered and is costing them game. Literally put them on a power play last night, which they scored on twice. One of them was called back. We're still talking about Grzelcyk making mistakes in the playoffs or being too small. Still. That needs to change. 617-779-0985. We got Rob in Rhode Island. Hey, Rob.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Yeah, just catching up, listening to what you're talking about. Agree with a lot of your points. But at the same time, I think there's nothing to panic about. Let's be honest. The Bees they didn't play great. They didn't play terrible. Those penalties in the second period changed the whole momentum of the game. Allmark played tremendous, but you can't forget about the other goalie in the other net. He played absolutely phenomenal as well. Maroon on the power play. He's big, he's heavy, he's strong as an ox. Lean on guys, get pucks back. Bertuzzi, I'd much rather have him in our lineup than their lineup. I think that was a big mistake letting him go. And then Matthews' goal at the end there, that pass from Domi from the sidewall with the loft over the shoulder, and Matthews picking that puck out of the air and then going in and able to finish. I mean, that's just tremendous athleticism. So let's give him a tip of the hat and say, let's go to Toronto and take it to him.
I feel the same way. Like, I thought that Toronto played a really good game last night, and you should tip your cap to them. I do. And I think the Bruins felt that way last night. I think the Bruins felt like they took them out of their game. They were a little bit more physical. Again, Geeky trying to get off the ice was saying the guy was holding his stick. Like, good gamesmanship there. But now they go home. They have their crowd. The Bruins have questions in net and secondary scoring. While they're just the Leafs, who had no shot, who've lost how many in a row? Like, they're the underdog story with nothing to lose here. Bees have a ton to lose. Phil in New Hampshire. Phil, you're on the Sports Hub.
Yeah, I literally am agreeing with you on every single point you're making tonight. I mean, even if you look at the first game, we stopped hitting for 2 minutes. What happened? Boom, we paid for it. Quick goal, right? So the physicality is huge, but I was listening to people crap on the rotation all day today, and I'm like, Linus played out of his mind. He got hung out to dry like laundry over and over again. Like, what do you want from the guy? He played in the league goaltender last night. He was fantastic. And the Austin Matthews goal, I could watch the replay 40 times in a row because it was magnificent. It was great. What a pass.
Hey, real quick, you said we agree on everything. I disagree. He was hung out to dry, though. Like,
there was a lot of
could they have
bad
scored
team
more?
defense.
Could they have scored more and played better defense? Absolutely.
Of course, but we would see the seam defense, like in the creases, was terrible. The seams was terrible. We had they had a lot of good opportunities. I mean, there was one where he had 3 saves, ended up laying on his belly.
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't find a better sequence for a goaltender. But it was all based on sloppy defense, and they stopped having a body on everybody. When we have a body on everyone and we're out physicaling people, we are absolutely elite as a squad. But when we stop hitting, all of our shortcomings as a roster start showing up, and the mental mistakes get paid for in spades. Swayman's looked bad in that situation. Linus has been made to look bad in that situation. There's only so many times your goaltender could be hung out to dry and face, high risk opportunities before he starts letting a few through. I mean, these are professional hockey players. Guys are going to score if you leave them, if you give them enough opportunity.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you. Sorry to cut you off. We agreed on everything. Except I don't feel like Allmark was hung out to dry. Felt like he got support after the game. His teammates certainly felt like they let him down. I didn't feel that way. People are hot about the Bees. Phone number is 617-779-0985. Richard's in Rhode Island. Hey, Richard.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Hey, yes, no, I just want to comment on one particular guy that we should always keep in mind during this series is Jake DeBrusk. That second goal that Tavares scored there, I don't know if you noticed, but that puck pretty much went right through his feet, and he pretty much did nothing as far as stopping it and letting it be able to get to Tavares, who, I mean, granted it was the shot itself was unexpected, but and maybe Omar could have had it, but still, it's like when you have a possibility to at least knock down the puck, and you see it right in front, going through your legs pretty much, and not doing anything about it. That's just last night that he wasn't able to at least stop it.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, DeBrusk didn't have the greatest night. He did have an assist, though. Right? He had an assist last night. He had a giveaway, too. Couple of shots on net. That wasn't pretty. I'll give you that. Yeah, DeBrusk has a target. There are people in this town who just, when he does well, they're like, yeah. It's funny, Harry Sinden had a chance to catch up with Dan Shaughnessy regarding this year's Bruins team. His quote regarding Jake DeBrusk was, every team has a Jake DeBrusk. Like, he doesn't have to elaborate. Every team has a Jake DeBrusk. Yeah, pile on DeBrusk if you want. Go ahead. Jason in the Cape. Jason.
Hey, what's going on? Big Joe, how you doing?
Good, man.
Good. I mean, I just look at this as the tale of 2 seasons, regular season coach and a postseason coach. And Montgomery is just, if we lose this series, he's got to go. I mean, you can't get bounced last year and this year with that team. Especially against the Toronto team that you owned in the regular season. He just doesn't have that next gear to get this team to play well when they need to. And that's just something he doesn't have. So, see ya.
See ya. I don't know if the coach is where I go on that one last night. You ready, Skaz? A full show tonight. You ready for these calls? I mean, we only did it last night for 2 hours and after the game. Oh, boy, we've got a deep one for the Red Sox. We'll tell you who hit that deep ball and what the score is and what else is going on in the in NBA and NHL playoffs. We'll do that coming up next right now in Sports Hub Headlines.
Sports Hub Headlines.
All right, Red Sox in Cleveland right now. They just took a big lead. Or a lead. How about that? Wilyer Abreu with a long tater. At the top of the seventh, it's 1-0 right now. This game's flying by. Wait, when did this game start? What time did this game start?
6:40, I believe.
They're in the top of the seventh inning at 7:34. Wow. Anyways, people like that. Our Red Sox 1-0 right now. Tanner Houck, 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned. 2 walks, 4 strikeouts on 81 pitches so far in this one. And again, the only run, Wilyer Abreu. Tristan Casas on the IL.
6:10 it started.
Wow. Okay, 90 minutes. Tristan Casas is a fractured rib. He's out indefinitely. Celtics off until tomorrow night. Got both teams in action tomorrow night, but we get some NBA playoff action tonight as well. Right now, no games in progress, but Timberwolves and Suns, Bucks, Pacers, Clippers, in Mavericks in the NHL tonight. You get the Rangers, Capitals, Lightning, and Panthers. Andre Peak, week to week, he's out. They have brought up Mason Lowry. Headlines, they are brought to you by Feldman Geospatial, with offices in Boston and Worcester. For all your survey services, you can count on Feldman to get it right from the ground up. FeldmanGeo.com. I'm Joe Murray. Next update in 30 minutes.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Complete your bachelor.
Slot now, Liljegren. Near circle to Domi. Stick handles and looks. Up top it comes. Liljegren shoots. It never got to Ullmark out in front. Ullmark the stop on Nyes.
Yeah, that one got to Ullmark, the Nyes chance.
And then the puck. The Bruins are unable to exit it. Out in front, Yarncroke shoots. Ullmark, what a stop at the near post. He got it with the glove. How did he keep that out of there?
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Here until 11 o'clock tonight, a full show. We'll talk to Ty Anderson coming up 8:20. And with the NFL draft on Thursday night, Dan Lifshatz from the Over Under Show in the Over Under podcast. One half of the Bankroll Boys and 1/3 of the Bankroll Bunch, I think. Well, does that make me part? I think I am. I'm going to say yes. Dan Lifshatz later on tonight as well. Skaz is here. Ryan Bell is here. He's answering your phone calls when you call in, so make sure you get your towns right. You know, hey, it's Bob in Stoughton, but he left off the S, so it was Tough Town. 617-779-0985. That was a great save last night by Ullmark. I got Ullmark's back. I'm supporting him. I thought he was pretty good last night. So he's not the reason why they lost whatsoever, and it will be criticized. Now, if Swayman loses game 3, then what do? You go back to Ollie again? What if you're down 3-1 and you're going back to Boston? This goalie rotation, it's what they believed in. It's what they've discussed. It is their identity. Could also be a huge problem for them as well. 617-779-0985. We'll continue to take your calls here. Let's start with James in the car. Hey, James.
Hey, what's going on, man? So I just think if we're going to win this series, and honestly, I don't see them going much further than past this one series if we do end up winning it. But you got to keep the momentum going. You can't be making these stupid errors and giving up these egregious penalties when you look at the other side of the puck. It's way too much offensive talent. They have the second most goals in the whole league, and you can't give that away. You know, I'll listen to you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, they let in the NHL and in the playoffs, home ice should be important. It hasn't been for many teams over the last couple of years, but you know what? It should be. And just looking at last night, you had a lead. They had to come from behind, and they did. But being down a defenseman was huge last night. And now where do they go from here? And I'm reading from Fluto Shinzawa today, Parker Wotherspoon, first in line to replace Andrew Peeke. Mason Lowry has been called up. Derek Forbort not likely to be a Game 3 option. So they have options. One of them is not Matt Grzelcyk, or is it? Oh, last night I've worked Bruins post-game shows for years at the station. All right, and now we're here every night. Did it last year, now we're here again. I just didn't think we'd be doing the Grzelcyk. Like the Lindholm stuff? Sure. Get on him. We're still doing Grzelcyk. Still. That's the one I'm frustrated about. I'll continue to take your calls here. John is in the truck. Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
So you just hit the nail on the head when you came back from break with this is their identity. And you know what? As soon as you said that, I thought to myself, and I know it's apples and oranges, but it's something that they always do. It doesn't make it right. And I can't. As I'm listening to you, I'm drawing a blank with a Patriots player. They ran the same defense all day long, and when they got to the Super Bowl, Belichick changed up the defense because they knew this was the way to beat them. And now we're in the playoffs. That doesn't mean that Cam and Don Sweeney can't change up things with Montgomery going into the playoffs. And when you look at the record that Swayman had, how do you not keep him in there for at least the whole series?
Well,
and then if you want to change it up in the next series.
John, here's the deal, though. Allmark was not responsible for the loss last night.
And that's a great point, too. And their physical nature, Joe, I look back all the way back to the Vancouver series when they won the Cup. That was a gritty team. You don't have anybody like that. I know Lucius was supposed to be the guy coming in, to command that type of things. It's been a long time since they've had a player like that.
Well, they had Patrick Maroon in there last night. The big boy. In front of the net on power plays. What's that guy doing on the power play, by the way? For real. What is he doing on the power play late in the game or the goalie off the ice? What is he doing on the ice? That's one you can get on Allmark for. What is he doing there? Why is he there? Why? We're going to ask Ty Anderson that one coming up in just a little bit. Again, the phone number 617-779-0985. I'm looking on our YouTube chat. Hello, friends. Rangers have the series in the bag. The Bruins, on the other hand, Jake DeBrusk, people are calling him. Let's see what else we got in here. People are just, not really in on the bees. I mean, I know that people are passionate about it, but last night, were the Bees out-coached? That's a good one. And Brian's in Fitchburg. What do you think, Brian? Were they?
They definitely were, because you saw in Game 2, I'm not sure if you noticed it, Joe, but Toronto, basically, their centers really stayed in between the blue lines, and they did a great job of making sure every time the Bruins had a break, Toronto had 3 men back, where they did not have that on Game 1. So, and Montgomery did not adjust to that, and the Bruins were very slow, skating in mud. Most of the end of the second and beginning of the third was dump and chase, which, if you've got 3 back, you can't play dump and chase. You're going to carry the puck in. You're going to draw the D in the center to you. The other thing, too, Taze and Westminster, great little spot if you're out in the Fitchburg area. Mm-hmm. Great little spot for hamburgers, hot dogs.
Yeah.
Great ice cream.
Is it all in one? All in one? I can get ice cream, a burger, and. Oh.
Hold on.
No.
So you're saying on a hamburger bun, a hamburger, a hot dog sliced on top, and then maybe a little bit of Rocky Road on top?
Wait, I don't know if that might be too much, but it's something that may come up later on in the show. But I don't know if I would put ice cream. Yeah, but you're going to put ice cream on a hot dog, bro?
You know what? They close at 8. I got to go, Joe. I got something to do.
You called me. You called me with a food take. Wait a second. Let me get this straight. There's a spot in Fitchburg that I don't forget the name of. You could get a hamburger with a sliced hot dog on top of it with a scoop of Rocky Road, in or out. Oof. I'll tell you, though, the hamburger sliced hot dog. Ooh, what about that in a hot dog roll, Skaz? No? You're not entertaining this one, huh? Just a hot dog roll, right? Cut up burger with a sliced dog in the oven. And just not the Rocky Road. The old Rocky Road. No, you're not participating in this, guys.
I think I'm out on this one.
You're out,
You
huh?
sent something. I don't know if I'd call it similar to our Slack channel earlier today. That
yes.
we'll probably revisit at some point later tonight. But that's what I'm thinking of, and I'm certainly out on that.
Yeah.
The mixing hot foods with ice cream. That's not something I'm interested in.
Like, are you a hamburger or a hot dog guy, or will you eat both at a cookout?
Yeah, I'll have both. I don't really have a preference.
Yeah. Would you eat both at the same time?
No.
Do you know, I don't think I've done that. I don't think I've put a hot dog on top of a burger before. Well, summer's coming, right? Call that the Murdog. We got to go to break. I see your phone calls regarding the Bruins. People are Bruins hungry, and we're going to talk to Ty Anderson. Speaking of hungry, we'll talk to Ty Anderson coming up in a little bit here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
If you need tires, think Town Fair Tire. Thinking name brands? We have them all. Thinking price? We beat the competitors. Free services? We have those too. For the guaranteed lowest price, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire. It's Truck Month at your local Ram dealer, and now's the time to get great deals on our award-winning lineup of trucks. At Ram, all we do is trucks. Maybe that's why Ram is the most awarded light-duty and heavy-duty truck brand over the last 5 years. Ram trucks feature innovative
Into this hamburger hot dog thing, and I made a joke calling it a murdog. Well, looks like this is a real thing. It is called a ham dog, a combination of a hamburger and hot dog. They're very famous in Australia. They're also here on the United. And he replaced the USA design patent for the specialty shaped bun in 2009. And later on in 2009, they turned it into a hoagie. The ham dog.
Move this man!
You know, a ham dog, I'll tell you. You smell the old barbecue this summer. The second you fire that bad boy up, you're going to think of a ham dog. You're going to think of this moment, everyone. You're going to look at that hamburger. Or maybe when it's on the grill, you like chop it by accident with your spatula. And you're like, hey, this is a chance to make a ham dog. I think I'm in. I'm going to try this thing out, just minus the lettuce and tomato and the onion. No lettuce on that or anything. No can do. 617-779-0985. We've been talking about the bees. We got Josh in the car. Josh, how you doing?
What's up, Big Joe Murr?
How you doing?
I got to say that that intro music, I know it's kind of what you were going for as far as bringing that WWE vibe with the Big Show type stuff. Anyway,
well, the Big Show and the Joe Show, you get it?
Yeah, oh, no, of course.
I've been told I kind of look like the Big Show.
I mean, possibly. I've also talked to you before about, I used to work at a golf course to talk about DOMs, the steak tip salad, all that good stuff.
We've talked before?
Oh, we have talked
in
before.
person.
We definitely
in person, or on the air?
At a satellite when you were. This was back when. What's the place in Woburn?
Scoreboard. Yeah.
Yeah, way back. I mean, this was not way back. Like, a couple of years ago. Okay. Either way, I wanted to agree with you on the goalie situation. Obviously, Omar didn't blow the game for us. He actually saved us a couple times, no pun intended. But I feel like maybe the coaching staff trying to stick with the same thing over and over. Like, we all know playoff hockey is different. So, I mean, trying to stick with the same thing might not necessarily work. And there was another caller that brought up Swayman's record against Toronto. I mean, I don't think he's lost a game against them, period. So, at the same time, I know you want to keep, familiarity, but when it comes to the NHL playoffs, and especially goalie-wise, I mean, what happens in 2011 if we don't ride Timmy and we throw in Tuukka just out of panicking? Or trying to keep with a rhythm, and then we throw Thomas off completely. We might not win a cup then. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the D's kind of iffy. I don't know. Carlo doesn't throw his body enough around, which he's a big fellow. He needs to do that. But like I said, I'm rambling a little bit, but, I do agree with you on
they're
the
overthinking it,
it's not Omar's fault.
They're overthinking
I think Montgomery's overthinking it, especially because of last year. And I think I'm glad management like Sweeney and Cam are giving him, the leeway to make those decisions, because it's important to have confidence in your coach. I was really, to be honest, I was pissed off when they fired Cassidy and then he goes out and wins a couple years later. But neither here nor there. I think Montgomery might be overthinking things a little bit, like ride the hot hand until something goes wrong. I even agreed with there was another train of thought where it would be and Swayman these first two, and then regardless of they go 2-0 or 1-1, whatever, you start Omar in the third. Number one, to give Swayman a break. Number two, the thought being you're traveling, and number three, to keep Omar on his toes as well.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you, man. Sorry to cut you short. We're up against it. Are the Bees overthinking it? And are you looking ahead to Game 3? And yes, we will take more ham dog suggestions, because now I need to know. And the Red Sox are falling apart. We'll tell you what the score is right now in Sports and Headlines.
Bust from the Town Fair Tire Studios, home of the Celtics, Bruins, Revs, and Patriots.
Left side, touchdown Patriots.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub. Easily Media Group Station. Sports Hub Headlines.
Bruins lose last night 3-2. They also lost Andre Peak for a little bit. He's week to week at the moment. They're going to have to call someone else up. Parker Wotherspoon is the guy. Derek Forbort, though, will not be ready for Game 3. They've also called up Mason Lowry from Providence. Some games tonight in the NHL. Rangers up 2-1 on Washington. Carolina has a 1-0 lead on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Celtics off until tomorrow. A couple of games underway right now. Well, one game. Timberwolves up 16-7 on the Phoenix Suns. Bucks and Pacers for tip-off tonight, 8:30. And Clippers Mavs, they are in the nightcap. And the Red Sox currently in action right now. They trail 2-1 to Cleveland. It's top of the 8th inning. Tanner Houck was outstanding, but lost the lead in this game. He went 7 strong innings. I'll give you the line on him right now. 2-1. Wilyer Abreu with a home run. Tanner Houck, though, was outstanding in this one. But 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, 3 walks. It was the walks that hurt him going into the 7th inning, where he gave up the 2 earned runs, but again, was outstanding tonight. They trail 2-1 in the top of the 8th. Headlines brought to you by Eastern Massachusetts leader in drain cleaning and pipelining. Drains by James. Slow drain, clog drain? You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm Joe Murray. Next update, 30 minutes.
Tatum has been spectacular.
This is Jason Tatum.
Right corner against Embiid. Tatum for a 50-piece.
You're listening to the home of Boston Celtics basketball. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I don't. But I don't blame Allmark. Some people do. Getting people in on the ham dog. We need a mannequin, right, for the chair over here. Do you think we could get a ham dog as the mannequin? I got a suggestion for Wally last night. Like, just put Wally in the chair. All right, I got to find out more about this. Greg is in Melrose. Hi, Greg.
Wow, Murray, pleasure to be on the air. It's not my thing to call into the radio station, but, you know, you talk about the ham dog, and I got to give you a recommendation that'll change your life.
Let's go.
There's an El Salvadorian fella that started a food truck, and he's got the Big Al Burger in downtown Melrose, behind Hugo's of Melrose. It's been there for 75 years.
Okay.
But I also got a hot take for you, if you've heard enough about the ham dog. But, hey, that's life-changing. Make sure you get yourself one. It's the Big Al Burger.
All right, I got it right here. I'm looking at it. All right, what's your take?
All right, so, listen, the Bees, you got to keep the faith with them. Swayman, he's going to get a dub in Toronto. But don't play it safe if we get a lead. Keep your foot on the gas pedal. I was playing hockey at Holland Arena on Wednesday night last week. Marshawn's watching his stepkid at the ice. Walk in, get a selfie with him, say hello. He's a little too, lackadaisical.
I can't do that. I'm sorry, buddy. You mean to tell me that you think from meeting Brad Marchand in person with his kid at a rink while you're playing that you can judge who the man is by that? I'm sorry. Thank you for your food recommendation, though. Yeah, I once saw Chara outside. He was really tall, and it makes me think he's slow. That's what just happened, Skez. That just, hey, Joe, let me tell you about this place. Great food, but let me give you a sports take. Probably should have just left it with the food take.
Yeah, that was a good call on your part, bailing early on that one.
I bailed. Yep.
Usually you kind of let them linger, give them a little too much rope there. I think you made the right decision.
We knew where that one was going. One more on the ham dog. Ed, how you doing, Ed?
I'm doing good, Joe. How you doing?
Good, man.
So the ham dog, the inventor of the ham dog, actually went on Shark Tank Australia, and he asked for, I think, $1 for 25% of the company. But then he also said in his sales pitch that the company's probably worth $100 million. So I wanted your thoughts on which one do you think is closer? Do you think the ham dog, which is basically a weird-shaped hamburger that has hot dogs sticking out of it, is that a $100 million idea or a $4 idea?
Well, I haven't thought about it before. So it sounds like a genius idea. $4 idea, though. No. I actually think if you can make the ham dog work, it's a genius idea. I feel like there's got to be a set. I mean, why don't you just put tots on it now? Right? Now you can try other things. Bacon? What about a saugus wing? Or saugus nuggets? Put one of those on there. Now we're talking. 617-779-0985. Now I'm thinking about going on Shark Tank, making up my own food.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sharon is in Melrose. You know where the burger joint is?
I do.
What do you think of the ham dog?
No, I don't. I really don't know where that is.
Oh,
I do
okay.
know where Hugo's is. But, yeah, I was kind of pissed there was another Melrose person on. Not going to lie.
I know. It's a Mexican Lindo over there, all the good spots.
Oh, I do love Mexico Lindo.
Yeah.
Sorry. I do. When I was pulling into Liberty Bell picking up my salad when I was calling into the show.
Oh, you're getting a beef or a salad?
No, I was getting my buff chick salad.
Ooh, buffalo chicken. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great salad. Love it.
Cool.
But I love listening to you guys, and I don't want to get hung up on. Let me tell you. I wrote notes down.
I won't hang up on you.
Oh, no. Don't worry. I love you guys. Love Kendra when Kendra's on. But I listen to you guys all day long because I work in Saugus, right around the corner from Kowloon.
There you go.
But right there at the Y. But I listen to you guys all day. And I had an epiphany on the way home because I was a goalie. Why are we making this all about the stupid goalies? What about the players? The way that they played on game 1 versus game 2 was totally different. They're not playing the same for the goalies either. We're making it all about the goalies.
They play better. I'll agree. Do they play better in front of Swayman than Allmark? Maybe.
Yeah, but they did that with Tuukka. And I did maybe at a country concert chase Tuukka down and let him know that how I felt about things.
Did he respond to you?
Oh, God, yeah. I have a selfie with him.
Oh,
the poor
okay.
guy.
So you chased him down?
He got cornered by me.
You cornered Tuukka Rask?
Oh, I cornered Tuukka Rask and let him know that I was okay with him choosing his family over the Bruins.
Okay.
Because I'm sure he really needed to hear that.
Maybe.
But there was way too much drinking involved for me to say that to him because that wasn't appropriate.
But the moral of the story is that they play better for Swayman than for Allmark. And the players should be blamed.
Right. It can't always be on – it can't be on Montgomery, and it can't be on the goalies. Like, as I was a goalie.
Hey, Sharon, you played goalie too? Oh, my God, you're a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, but I played goalie too. But, so I know it's not always – it's not just them. And I listen to you guys – I mean, I'm telling you, I listen to Fred and Hardy. I listen to you guys all day long.
Yeah?
At work, I am constantly listening to you guys.
Cool.
So I was driving home. I never call in, and I was like, no, wait, why are we just focusing on them?
Sharon, good call. Welcome anytime. Especially with the Kowloon reference. We got ourselves a night. This is playoff full shows, Skaz. People are out.
Yeah, and I think she brings up a really good point. Maybe we are focused too much on the goal. I mean, the goalies haven't been the issue, right? It's just a storyline. But in the game, the goalies have been no problem at all. It's been more on the players, the defense, and their lack of, scoring.
Agreed.
I'm on Team Sharon.
Team Sharon? But the salad, though, I'm not on that team. Not on the buff chicken salad. Mike's in Woburn. Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
How you doing? What's your take?
I'm doing all right. Listen, first of all, leave the players alone when they're with their kids at the rink.
Yes.
Okay?
Or at a concert.
But second of all, don't question a player's effort when you and your beer league bros can only skate on the 3/4 size ice surface. Holland isn't even a full sheet. These guys are putting in 75% effort in their beer league, bending themselves all over the ice. And he's calling about Brad Marchand? Get out of here.
He's upset. He thinks he's lackadaisical from the way he moved watching his kid.
The guy's, 35? He's not the same, he doesn't have the same electric skating style. He also had a double hip surgery. That might have something to do with it. But, again, you don't lose the skill that this team lost last season and put up the same numbers. The forwards are a problem. They've patched it together. They're in the playoffs. In my opinion, they should beat Toronto, but they're inconsistent. The forwards are inconsistent right now. The D is better than Toronto. The goaltending is better than Toronto. If they get enough pucks on net, they'll win the series. But what he does with his kids, is not affecting his on ice output. That's crazy.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Well, we got a couple of calls here. We'll make these quick. Matt's in Nashua. Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's up, Joe? How are you, brother?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I got a quick take on the Patriots. I know I called last week talking that they should probably try to look to trade that pick. I still stick with that. I think maybe they could try to strike gold in the draft and try to do something crazy. And speaking of striking gold, I don't know if you ended up getting a metal detector and made it out onto the beach since I talked to you last week, but night is the night, brother. Oak Island. 9 o'clock. You got to check it out, dude. You got to check it out.
I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on in studio at 9 o'clock tonight.
All right, we'll hope for gold tonight and then gold in the draft, brother. Be good.
Thanks, buddy. This is the guy last week, Skaz, when I asked you if you went to the beach with a metal detector.
Yeah, I completely forgot about Oak Island, but I guess we're back. I'll have to put it on the DVR.
Zach's in Providence. Hey, Zach.
Hey, how we doing? I loved your Taylor Twellman skit, but what was that with the hand dog? That sounds terrible to me.
But it's real. I've never had it before. Have you?
Me either, but
do you like
how stupid do people look when they eat a hot dog?
Well, do you like
Does it need to get worse?
I don't get it. I like hot dogs.
I do too, but
does that mean
people look stupid eating them?
We look stupid. We look stupid?
A little bit. Sometimes. I love you guys, but
like what? Everyone eats a hot dog. So everyone's
not the vegetarian.
Maybe they've had one in their life.
Probably.
But what? So wait, do you like hamburgers?
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you like hot dogs?
You don't have to go yeah, I'll do it, but
yes.
You look stupid eating them.
Yeah, but what's the whole point of what you look like? I don't care what somebody looks like when they eat. Do you look at people when they eat? I don't care what I look like. It's like the winter. And we got to talk to Ty Anderson in a minute here. In the winter, right? As long as I'm warm, I don't care what color the jacket is. You know what? Back in the day, we grew up wearing starter jackets, right? I don't care if I had the worst team. Who was like the worst team back then? Who was like a really bad team in like the 90s? Like were the Padres bad? I'm just trying to think.
Like a Lions starter jacket?
Yeah, oh yeah, there you go. A Lions blue starter jacket or the Padres ugly brown?
Still look cool.
That's right. Because I was warm. Didn't care. Didn't care what it looked like. Well, someone who does care. His name is Ty Anderson, and he's going to join us next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. The Bees fans are out. Talking about last night's 3-2 loss, series now tied at 1. And now shifts to Toronto. We'll go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. We'll welcome in Ty Anderson of 98.5thesportshub.com and, of course, the 98.5 Underground Podcast. Joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Ty, how you doing, bro?
Joe, what's going on, man? How we doing?
We have been awaiting your presence here on the night show. It's the playoffs. This is the real time of year. And last night, my takeaway was I thought that Keefe and the Leafs made some adjustments, defensively at least, packing it in a little bit, not giving up rebounds to the Bruins. I thought that adjustment actually kind of slowed the Bruins down a little bit last night. What were your thoughts on that, and what were some other things that you took away from last night?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference was probably Maple Leafs had a much better forecheck in Game 2, and they were really a lot better at closing time and space for the Bruins. There were really no easy outs for their defense pretty much all game long. And then, you know, their 5-on-5 game has been great. Like, Toronto's 5-on-5 game pretty much all series has been great. They've run into trouble when, you know, they've taken dumb penalties, which they continue to do in Game 2. But they have a lot of firepower, right? And I think when you're playing so much of the game in the neutral zone and in your own end, it's going to be a problem for the Bruins. You know, Toronto's weak points are on their back end and in goal. And the problem is if you can't get possession to hem those guys in and increase the pressure on them, they're not going to fold, right? Like, you look at the David Pastrnak goal at the end of the first period, that's a great goal. But what happens there is that you got two Maple Leaf defensemen above the dots. Like, there's nobody covering, you know, the slot. And this is sort of, you got to get back to getting good possession, grinding them down, and generating your chances that way. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be a tough series to sort of continually tread water and just hope you get your bounce at the other end. You got to make your own bounces. And I think Toronto was much more aggressive last night, much more, to your point, more pace, more physicality. And I think the Bruins just got overwhelmed by it by the midway point of the game.
What else are you seeing out there? Obviously, they were down a defenseman last night. I thought they were gassed. I've been wanting to ask somebody this question, so you're the guy. Why was Maroon out there on the power play late in the game and not Charlie McAvoy? Was he gassed?
Yeah, so I think that you look at it and you know, they've tinkered with their power plays a little bit here, and their first unit right now is a really bizarre unit. Not going to lie to you. It's Kevin Shattenkirk, Danton Heinen, and Pat Maroon are three of the five guys on that unit, and that's a bit unusual, but this is sort of how bad their power play has been of late, is that they're kind of throwing anything at the wall and hoping it sticks. But you sort of, you know, that's a situation where I was watching that and I'm in the press box and I'm going, what's going on here? Like, this is where you kind of put your talent out there. You put your top talent. You say, to hell with our lines or whatever we're doing. Like, we got to put the best group out there. And, you know, to your point and to your question, they're 3 for 6, or they were at one point 3 for 6 in the power play in this series. All three goals have come with what I would consider the star-studded unit out there. You're talking McAvoy, Marchand, DeBrusk. Like, those guys have factored in to all of the power play scoring. Morgan Geekie got a goal as well, but he's on that unit with those guys. So that was a situation where I was surprised that the Bruins didn't go with their top dogs and basically say, forget the unit, we got to get, you know, our big horses out there. And you look at the way that Matthews sort of put the team on his back, you were waiting for the Bruins to, you know, have their top guys put the team on their back, and it just didn't really happen in that moment.
All right, what's the latest on defense right now? It looks like Peake's going to miss some time, but I can't believe I'm still doing post-game show, Ty, and we're still talking about Matt Grzelcyk being too small or not being physical enough or his turnovers or whatever. It's just, I feel like we've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, and I'm not crushing Neely or Sweeney or whatever they did this year. I commend them, but just looking at it now, they're still in the same spot when it comes to Matt Grzelcyk.
Yeah, I think with Grzelcyk, you know, he didn't have a good game too. Like, we can't sugarcoat it. We can't lie about it. He didn't have a good game too. I thought he was solid in game 1. You know, and what's crazy about Grzelcyk here is that, you know, for all the bellyaching about him and what he's done here, you know that he hasn't been on the ice for a goal yet in this series.
Wow.
And so, it's kind of, it's impressive in that regard, right? That he, as poorly as he's played, and he hasn't played well. I thought game 2 wasn't good at all. I don't think he's been the biggest issue, to be honest with you. I think Charlie McAvoy has to elevate. This is a series where your star players are going to really dictate how it goes, I think, on both teams. And I don't think Charlie McAvoy we really haven't seen that takeover performance from him yet. And so you want to see more of that. Hampus Lindholm, when he's with Brandon Carlo, they're going to have a defense-first kind of role. So you really need McAvoy to get the offense going, I think, on the back end for them. And that really has been the case. So as far as what's going to happen in Game 3, well, Andrew Peeke is going to be out week to week. He's probably done for the series, I would imagine. Derek Forbort, they're saying he's day-to-day. He wants to play, but I think the Bruins are a bit more reluctant to throw him in there despite playing in the minors over the weekend. And then you have Mason Lohrei brought up today. They have some options here. I think what I would do personally is I'd put both Wotherspoon and Mason Lohrei in for Game 3 and actually sit Kevin Shattenkirk, not Matt Grzelcyk.
Wow.
And I would do that just because I think this series, the pace of this series is really sort of fast. You saw it on Monday night. You saw it on Saturday. And Shattenkirk, the wheels, man, he's got the smarts, but the wheels aren't there. And I think this is a series where you're going to need Grzelcyk and to make some plays and Lohrei to make some plays more than you're going to need the veteran know-how of Shattenkirk.
All right, we're talking to Ty Anderson, who was in the press box last night, writes for 98.5thesportsup.com. Let's talk about the goaltenders. I personally thought Ullmark was good last night, made some really good saves, kept them actually in the game. And, I don't think he was hung out to dry. We got a few calls tonight from some listeners thinking that, but after the game, the team thought that they needed to score more and protect them in front. So I liked what I saw from Ullmark last night. What are your thoughts on the rotation for the goaltenders at the moment?
Well, I personally don't like the rigid rotation. I don't think it really plays to any particular. I mean, there's a case to be made here that it works, right? It's worked for 28 games in a row, whatever it's been now. However, I was more of the belief that it should be goalie X's net until he loses a game, and then you go to the other guy. And they didn't do that. And so I do wonder if workload had something to do with it. Now, there's been talk that the Bruins decided that Linus was going to start Game 2 a week ago, and this is what they were going to do. But I do think that, it's just a hard thing to kind of I don't want to blame the goalies because I think they've done their job. I think if you're looking at one department, they've done their job. However, Swayman's numbers against Toronto this year are incredible, and it's tough to go away from that. When you have a 1-0 series lead, in my opinion. So this is why I hate the rigid rotation. I thought by Game 3 we were going to see either goaltender, but I probably would have stuck with Sway given what he did in Game 1. And now they have a legit debate here. If you go back to Swayman in Game 3, which is what I expect, and he wins the game and he's dominant again, can you really go back to Linus Ullmark again? Because at that point it's mental, right? And you can't quantify that, but he's in Toronto's head. He's 5-0 against them. He has a .950 or whatever it is at that point. How could you turn away from that? So I think that, but listen, it's Game 2. We've seen both guys. I think now it becomes performance-based, and I think it should be from this point on.
What do you think Toronto was anticipating in that last night? And now that they know it's probably Swayman, what adjustments will they make, you think?
I think they were expecting Swayman. I imagine that they were, just given how good he's been against them. And, there was something to be said for the idea of you stick with Swayman at home for 2 games. He's been really good at home in his career, particularly in the playoffs. You go back to 2022, he was 3-0 at home and 0-2 on the road. And so you look at it from that point of view, he's been good at home in the playoffs. Game 7 withstanding last year. That was a tough spot for him. But I think they're expecting Swayman, and they're going to get him now tomorrow night. I think that, they understand that both goaltenders present challenges, much like the Bruins look at Toronto's top 2 lines and say, okay, these guys are going to be good, and they're going to get their looks no matter what. So this is your strength versus their strength, right? And so I think Swayman, I just think that, here's what's weird about it, Joe, is that, we look at this whole year of Swayman and we say, okay, the Bruins got to commit to this guy long term. Don't you want to see if he has that kind of magic in him that he can be the guy and go on a little bit of a run here? So if he wins Game 3, I got to stick with him for the rest of the series, in my opinion, just because I got to know before I give him $7 million a year. I got to know if he can do it.
Yep, I would just go with him just to ride it out a little bit. I mean, think about it. The pressure is on the Bruins right now. Like, they had a chance to go up 2-0. They didn't get beat last night. What I mean by that is they lost 3-2, but it was on a misplay. You know what I mean? They were in it all night long. Yeah, they had their chances, but for the most part, I tip my cap to Toronto. But now they haven't won in how many games? 9? They go back home. They potentially could get Nylander back. Is that what are you hearing on him at the moment?
Yeah, Nylander looks. Every video I've seen of Nylander, I'd be shocked if he plays. He looks very stiff. He looks like he's having trouble moving out there. It reminds me a bit of Bergeron last year. You know, like what exactly happened? We don't know. It was a game 82. He got hurt. It was a practice. You know, he looks like he has a very stiff back right now. And so if they get him back, that's great. But, you know, I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be unless they absolutely load him up on some sort of, you know, cortisone or whatever to numb his back like they will with David Krejci. You know, David Krejci last year my understanding was that he got 2 injections in his back to be able to play late in that series, and they were pretty heavy duty. So maybe they do something like that, but ultimately this is a series where, you know, Toronto's going to win. They have these sort of expected goals and the chances you generate. Toronto's going to win that battle. They're going to win that battle every game. To your point, getting Nylander back only helps them in that regard. This is why the Bruins have to play a more simplified, more possession-based attack at the other end, because Toronto's goalies, Joe, they're not very good. Yep. Samsonov had an .890 in the regular season. He had an .865 over his final 5 games of the regular season. He's not a very good goaltender. You just need to get in there more and challenge him more, because while the Maple Leafs are gonna have great expected goals, your goalies can save them, and their goalies can't. And so that's the biggest difference. I think this team just needs to have more possession because they're not going to win the depth battle offensively against the Toronto team.
All right, talking about Ty Anderson, he does the 98.5 Underground with Matt Doloff as well. You watch hockey, you go to the games, you're around the team often, you watch the league. What's the worst take that you've heard from either hosts or listeners regarding the Bruins after 2 games in the playoffs?
Yeah, I would say that the worst take has been that they don't have a chance. I mean, there's a lot of sort of, you know, fatalistic views about this team, and I get it. That's kind of how Bruins fans naturally are. But they weren't going to sweep this team. They had the very best they were going to win in 5 games, which means Toronto's going to win at least 1. And so I don't think the series is over because I was expecting a 6 or 7 game series to begin with. But this is a game of adjustments, and now it's on Jim Montgomery and the Bruins to make their adjustments. I don't know if Toronto can keep their cool and stay out of the box. This is a very sort of ornery team. Like, you look at them like Bertuzzi, Domi, Reeves, Edmondson, Simone Benoit, Jake McCabe, Labushkin. Like, these guys take a lot of penalties, right? And so can they keep their cool and stay out of the box for another 4 games or another 3 games and win all 3 of those games? I don't know. And so I think that's where you got to look at it if you're the Bruins and say, that's our gateway, right? And that begins with having what we've talked about, possession shifts, wearing them down, getting them to react. And so I think it's a game of adjustments, and now the Bruins have to up their intensity, which we've seen at points this year. We've seen them beat Florida. We've seen them, you know, beat Carolina. They can up their level on the road, and so they got to do that here in Game 3, and it starts on the back end, in my opinion, playing a more sturdy game and just having the puck a bit more on your stick.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night. The Leafs did not make smart plays at all, and the Bruins couldn't capitalize on it, and it's probably something that might get them for the rest of this series. He's Ty Anderson. Check out all his work, 985thesportshub.com. Check out 98.5 Underground as well. Ty, appreciate it, my man, and I'm with you. That's it. The season, the series is wide open, but Bruins are still favored. I think they win the series.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's such a staggering advantage in net that I just have a hard time seeing Samsonov keeping the damage to 2 consistently over the course of the series. I just have a hard time seeing that. It's not who he's been all year, borderline all career for that matter. So as long as their goalies are their goalies, they have a chance.
All right, Ty, appreciate the time, my man. We'll catch up and go Bees the rest of the way here. Check out his stuff, 98.5thesportshub.com. Thanks, Ty. Ty does a great job, everybody. And I had to ask him, what pisses you off? What's the hot take? And it's that the series is over. And it's not. We'll get to the headlines here. The Red Sox game's over, I guess. We'll tell you the score now.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox lose 4-1. It was 1-0. But they lost 4-1. Tanner Houck, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 91 pitches, loss. Wilyer Abreu hit a home run, and then the rest of it fell apart in Cleveland. That one's over. Tristan Casas has a fractured rib. No timetable on that one. Celtics off. They play tomorrow. The Suns have a 46-40 lead on the Timberwolves. Bucks up 7-5 on the Pacers just underway. Clippers and Mavericks. The late night game tonight. In the NHL, we mentioned the Bees back in action tomorrow in Toronto. Currently, Rangers 3-2 lead over Washington. Panthers 2-0 right now over the Lightning. Later tonight, Winnipeg at the Avalanche. And Avalanche at Winnipeg, and Vancouver host Nashville. Headlines, they are brought to you by our good friends over at Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Next update in 30 minutes.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Win a new
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We got in or out coming up next segment. You're either in or you're out. It's as easy as that. Can we play the Code Red, Skaz? The old Code Red. It's what Brian Scalabrine thought that the Heat, they thought Pat Riley called in the Code Red on Jason Tatum after being down 20 points in the fourth quarter to send a message. Did they send a Code Red? Do you believe it was the Code Red? What do we have back? We got Scal first, or do we have our man from A Few Good Men? What do we got first there, Skaz?
We're completely frozen back here.
Did you call a Code Red? I'm Colonel.
The computer has a Code Red right now.
You should be lucky that I work for you and that I save lives. I'm trying to pull the Jack quotes there. Did you call the Code Red? Pat Riley, did you call the Code Red? Because Brian Scalabrine thinks so. I don't. Do you know what I liked most about it? Jaylen Brown had Tatum's back. Porzingis got in the mix. Do I think it was a Code Red? No. Do I think Caleb Martin basically thought, all right, well, the game's over, I might as well just undercut him? Yeah, I do. Do I think it was cheap? I just didn't think it was intentionally hurtful. How's that word? Was it a Code Red? If that's what the team needs to be fired up in, if that's what the message that the old timers need to at least chronicle for the team, then fine. But are you really sending Caleb Martin as the guy to be the message of the Code Red? Like, this isn't Kiefer Sutherland. It's not Kiefer Sutherland. It's Caleb Martin. I didn't trust Kiefer in that movie. By the way, what a great 80s heel character, huh? Like in Stand By Me, when they found the body, he wasn't scared. He played a hell of a heel 80s, early 90s heel. He was great at it. Then he became like Jack Bauer and other stuff. But in A Few Good Men, it was good. But Jack was the best.
We got Scal.
Oh, let's listen to Scal calling for Code Red.
So let me ask you this question. They show the Jaylen Brown twist on Duncan Robinson's arm. Let's say the Miami Heat show that play 6-7 times in a row before the series. Okay. Is that planting a seed? Is that saying we're not going to let this team do this to us? Is that saying, look at what they did to us. This is what we got to do to them. Are you guys thinking that the Miami Heat went into the series and did not show that play to their players?
I'm thinking that, yes, that play might have been shown. I don't think that they said retaliate in the same way.
No, well, okay. And then do you think that during that timeout, or during any timeout, by the way, do you think that Eric Spoelstra says, come on, guys, we're down by 32. We're just going to lay down and get punked? We're not going to send a message? Now, I'm not saying he said, go run over Tatum and hurt him. I'm saying, come on, guys. We're going to send a message to these guys. We're on a long series right here. This is what we're going to do. Now, if you think that was not said throughout that game when they're getting punked by the Celtics, if you think that was not said, then I think you guys don't buy into your Heat culture of the biggest, strongest, nastiest, toughest team.
Code Red, says Brian Scalabrine. I don't know if we have the Jack. Why don't we just play it just to have fun with it? Because I'm Colonel Jessup.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the Code Red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question.
Did you order the code red?
I did the job. Did you order the code red? You're goddamn right I did!
What's it gonna be, McFly?
Are you in or out?
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
If you need tires, think...
In or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
Hamster. In. Hamburger
Out.
and lobster. Out.
Out.
You know what they can do? Those cheddar biscuits. Have you ever had a cheddar biscuit? Florida a couple of years ago. I drove by a Red Lobster and I go, I've never been. Like, where are they? Where are Red Lobsters? Where do you go for a Red Lobster? I bet you there's one in, like, Connecticut. I don't even want to look up where the closest is. But when I first tried the cheddar biscuits, oh, baby. Sharp cheddar cheese, garlic, in butter, served warm, absolutely delicious. Outstanding. You want to start making some money, Red Lobster? Don't give that away for free anymore. Charge for the cheddar biscuit. You know what? They should bring more to the area. That would help out, right? I know we're near the ocean, but people would flock. All right, back here, 98. What his moles are. Let's talk to Jimmy real quick. Jimmy's in Newburyport. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Joe. I friggin' love you, man. Great job, as always. Yeah, I mean, we've been beating the Bruins. I can't believe people are still talking about Tuca. That girl was sweet, but, man, I just hear his name again. Poopy Pants. Yeah, I think I might have had a Sox comment, but, you know, always got to ask you some food questions. You ever make it up to Portsmouth, New Hampshire?
Yes, sir.
What do you got up there that you like?
I like. Have you been to Moxley's? It's like a tapas bar. It's pretty good. Portsmouth, yeah, you know, get some friends with a boat. Go up there, walk the old harbor there. You know, nice little area, but very good. Very good on there. I got some friends who, what is it, the Pasquatic River or whatever it is over there? Pasquatica? There you go.
Yeah.
I'm a kid from Boston. What do I know?
Yeah, you're good, man. Well,
have you been to Massimo's, by the way, up there?
Is that Italian place?
Yeah, Italian.
I think I had a work outing. Oh, I got an NDA take, actually. They stink.
Are you smoking? Are you smoking?
No, I got the allergies. I had to quit smoking.
All right. Well, your ADD made me think that you were under the influence of marijuana.
No, I wish, brother. I wish. I used to do the concentrates, but not anymore. I've been off of it for a year.
Well, you're the man, Jimmy. And I like.
All right, you're the man, Joe. Sorry, I don't got a good sports take.
No, it's okay. I love Newburyport. I go there all the time, and Starboard Galley's my spot.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, I'll be listening. Keep up the good work, man.
Thanks, man. I totally thought that guy was smoking a joint listening to the show. You know how you just get that feeling? It's like all of a sudden you get a connection. You know, it's like, man, this guy, his brain right now. Speaking of brains, we're going to talk to Dan Lifshatz coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. There's a lot going on in the NFL draft. And as far as the betting odds go, there's been plenty of movement. Let's go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. He's Dan Lifshatz of the Bankroll Boys in the Over-Under Show. Dan, how do you explain all the line movement with the quarterbacks at 2 and 3?
Yeah, basically what's been going on is all the experts and all the very high-notch Tier 1 insiders have been basically saying for a while now that Jaden Daniels is going number 2, and it's been back and forth in the betting markets because the information is somewhat like San Francisco a couple of years ago where everyone thought it was Mac Jones, and then, it ended up being Trey Lance. Well, this is a little bit different because Jaden Daniels has such a higher evaluation from all the pro scouts, and the difference is basically that, those three guys, Fields, Lance, and Mac Jones, we're all kind of grouped together in terms of talent. This is very different. This is where, they're the basically talent evaluators believe Jaden Daniels is, a leap and a big notch ahead of Drake May, and basically, the entire league at this point is basically expecting Jaden Daniels to go number 2, and even JD was the last holdout today. Basically, kind of flipped on that. Steve Kine basically said it as well. All the guys over there who cover Washington nationally, have kind of flipped over to Jaden Daniels being number 2, and it does seem like he's going to be the number 2 guy there.
All right, the draft position for J.J. McCarthy, over-under is set at 5.5. Would you go over or under that?
Yeah, look, I've taken a pretty big position on McCarthy under 5.5 simply for this reason. One, I think he has outs with the Patriots. Obviously, I think that ultimately I do think they go Drake May, but I think McCarthy is of significant interest, and I think they will honestly consider him. And then there's been a couple guys who have reported some real interest at 4. Josh Norris, who broke the Arizona-Houston trade last year, has reported that Arizona and Minnesota basically have a deal in place for Minnesota to move up to number 4. There have been a couple other guys as well who have, kind of said this, as much. Charlie Campbell, again, at Walter Football, has also said this as well. So there are a couple reputable sources who have said this. Now, the reason the deal is not necessarily done because who knows if J.J. McCarthy is the guy, but the expectation around the manager, Joe Horitz, said the other day he expects to pick the first non-quarterback on the board, basically signaling that he believes the Cardinals are going to move off the number 4 pick, and someone is going to take a quarterback there. So I've booked a lot of J.J. McCarthy under 5.5. I do believe that he is going to go in that 1 through 4 area. I expect it to either be 3 or 4. To which team, I don't know, but I expect him to go either 3 or 4.
Do you think Michael Penix goes in the first round?
I'm going to say yes, but I don't feel very confident in that, and I certainly wouldn't put any stock into that. There's been a lot of up and down expectations. Penix just goes against the historical mold of guys who selected in the first round in terms of age, injury history, those sort of factors. It just kind of goes against everything that, the NFL has kind of historically gone with. And Bo Nix included in that, not necessarily the injury stuff, or maybe more the talent evaluation for him. But, Daniel Jeremiah basically said tonight that, that he thinks that, he's expecting potentially both to go in the first round. There are a lot of guys who are covering that and basically saying that they think that, these guys are all going to end up being in the first round. I just think this is the kind of, the type of year and the time of year, really, where everyone has like 50 guys going in the first round, right? Everyone has their guys who could go in the first round, and there's always 50 possible dudes who are going to be first rounders, and you can only have 32 first round picks. So to me, I would say yes, but I certainly don't feel confident in it. It's something that I have not wagered. I will tell you, Adam Schefter has been all in on all those guys making it first round. At least 5 quarterbacks, he said, and most likely 6. He's been super consistent with that the past couple weeks. So, we'll see what happens there. Michael Penix minus 275 for the first round. Bo Nix is plus 260. You think he sticks around? The Knicks stuff is so strange. There's been so many teams recently connected to him. I've heard Seattle. I've heard Minnesota if they don't trade up to number 4, number 5 area. I've heard New York. I've heard a plethora of these teams. Atlanta was another one I heard today that are looking for quarterbacks and interested in guys. And it just feels very interesting that everyone's all talking about Bo Nix, and it does feel like someone their teams are just trying to get each other to move up for him, knowing that they necessarily don't have interest in him. So I'm going to say one of them goes first round. I'll say Penix goes first round and Nix doesn't. Again, I'm not confident in that at all, so I don't want you to hold me to that, but I would say at least probably 5 quarterbacks in the first round.
All right, any crazy things happening in the first round or early in the first round tomorrow?
I think the craziest thing could be that we could really legitimately see the Cardinals, if they don't trade at 4, pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. and take Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver out of LSU. I think everyone's very much expecting Marvin Harrison to be the first wide receiver off the board. I have thought that for a good portion of time, but it does feel like there's a lot of smoke around this. There are, a couple guys who are very well connected to the Arizona front office basically say they have them at 1 and 2, and they're right next to each other. And there's not a big gap between them. So I think Arizona ultimately would like to trade down and get one of those guys. I think 6 would really be their preferred area of where they can move down to, so they could definitely get either one of Neighbors or Harrison. But I think if Thursday, if something crazy happens, I think that will probably be the craziest thing people talk about potentially is Arizona not picking Marvin Harrison Jr. and picking Malik Neighbors instead, and will be probably a mild upset. And I would say at 5 potentially as well. I think potentially J.C. Latham being the pick there over Joe Alt. I mean, I know everyone talks about Alt being this unbelievable prospect. The league does not feel the same way as fans and the media do. I can tell you that very, very, very clearly. That it's just the betting odds don't reflect that, and there's a lot of people who just don't believe that Alt is going to be the number 1 tackle. For multiple reasons, but it does remind you of a couple of years ago whenever, there were a couple of tackle situations. Andrew Thomas was the first tackle on the board, but he was expected to be like the 3rd or 4th tackle in a very deep tackle class. It just does have the same sort of feel in that sort of situation. Jedrick Wills, the tackle, was supposed to be the highly touted guy. I think close minus 700-ish to go as the first tackle on the board. He was actually the favorite to be the first non-quarterback taken in that draft as well. And obviously, he was not taken until I think he was the 2nd or 3rd tackle there. Andrew Thomas was picked up very high by the Giants. So again, it does kind of have the similar type makings of that class where maybe a John Harbaugh who loves a guy like Latham might end up getting his wish.
All right, Latham plus 2,000 in the top 5 and Neighbors plus 205. He's Dan Lifshatz. Go check him out. He'll have all the reaction to the draft, and I know you guys will be on Saturday as well with the late round stuff. They'll be betting all weekend long. Dan, go be Daddy Lifshatz. Thank you for your time.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, he's Dan Lifshatz. He was doing daddy time. And he still called in. Latham at plus 2,000 top 5 scats. You see that one right there? I like myself some long odds. Malik Neighbors at plus 205, top 5. I like it. But yeah, Latham plus 2,000. Could he be the best tackle? So I don't think he was, my opinion. I thought Alt was the best tackle this year. I thought Olu Fashanu was too. Plus 2,000 right now. The other one I heard is Dallas Turner. First defensive player, top 5, plus 3,000.
I got one for you, Joe. A prop that started at 100 to 1 that is now 6 to 1. The prop is the Chargers to draft a quarterback with their first pick. When the market opened, this was 100 to 1. Yesterday, it was 15 to 1. And now, for the Chargers to draft a quarterback with their first pick, it is 6 to 1. What do you think about that?
If you're the Chargers, right? You must have something lined up for Herbert.
Well, doesn't it make sense? They have the 5th pick. 4 quarterbacks go. Even if, like Lifshatz said, Neighbors goes to the Cardinals at 4 potentially if they don't trade out. You get Marvin Harrison or Neighbors. Isn't that exactly what you're looking for if you're the Chargers?
Yeah, because they let their 2 top wide receivers go.
Eckler was one of their
gone,
pass catchers.
You still got Thornton. You got the other kid that was there last year, did pretty well. Like, you insert Neighbors Harrison, they're your number one. Like, number one.
So what do you think of the movement, though?
It's if they really want to go with J.J. McCarthy, they now have to unload Justin Herbert's contract, right? Or he's going to... Like, Easton Stick was pretty good as a backup, don't you think?
I mean, he was okay.
Why would they draft a first-round quarterback?
There's absolutely no reason for them to do it other than Harbaugh
moving on from Herbert.
Loves McCarthy that much, which I can't see happening. But to go from 100 to 1 to 6 to 1 definitely raises some eyebrows.
What do you think Herbert would attract in a trade?
Multiple firsts.
Definitely.
Maybe three firsts.
Would you trade 3 overall for Justin Herbert? You know what? This is weird, but I probably wouldn't. Like, I know you want your quarterback. Oh, man, I guess you got to think about that one now, right?
He's 26.
He's 26 under contract. He's big. He has been hurt a little bit.
I'm not as big of a Herbert fan as a lot of people are. I think he's good, but I mean, they've had decent teams around him, and maybe it's the division because Mahomes is there. They just don't win enough. But
I'll tell you this: of all the quarterbacks of the last 3 years, he probably would be number one of the guys that have been drafted. Right? Stroud. Who'd you take, Stroud or Herbert?
I would take Stroud. But that's maybe a little biased because he's only been in the league 1 year, but it was a really good year. And he didn't have the options that Herbert had.
Maybe I'm overthinking this one, but I probably would give up now that I think about it a third. Probably do number 3 overall for Herbert. Not saying that's in play. Would I do it? Yeah.
So then if you're Harbaugh, you could draft J.J. McCarthy and Marvin Harrison.
Wow.
I mean, stuff like that, something going from 100 to 1 to 6 to 1 definitely has me, I'm already looking forward to Thursday, but if the Chargers are going to do something crazy, that would really throw a wrench into things.
Now you got me thinking. Trade Herbert to the Patriots. They get the 3rd pick and have the 6th pick. They draft McCarthy at 3.
And then Harrison at 5.
Wow. Well, they'd have 3 and 5. Holy smokes. It's not happening, but
no, I mean,
it's great to play, have fun with it, though.
Just the odds change is crazy that can happen, this close to the draft.
Let's do a little Red Sox because the game's over and we haven't talked much about them this week, and I got a ton of Patriot stuff on the table and the draft as well. Let's get to the headlines right now.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Red Sox lost 4-1. They had a 1-0 lead going into the 7th. Tanner Houck was pitching well, and then, bullpen. Well, he gave up a couple of walks there. Had 4 strikeouts, 6 innings, 5 hits. 2 earned, got the loss as a 1.65 ERA now on. right, back here at 98.5 The Sports. We got the musings coming up next. We have a soundbite for musings. Something that happened locally that we need to share. It's not a fart. Even though people enjoyed that one last. The bulky. So the Red Sox lost today 4-1. They were cruising. 1-0. Tanner Houck was rolling. They brought him out to the 7th, and things kind of fell apart. A couple of walks. And they lose 4-1. Developing thought here, Skaz. The Red Sox have been better than I thought. They deserve more credit for their record than they're getting. They have literally holes throughout their lineup with guys that, were expected to play or be mainstays. Today they got the news about Tristan Casas, which is kind of awful news. I thought he was going to be an all-star this year, so I'm going to lose a side bet with somebody because I said he'd be an all-star. But for the most part, Tristan Casas, the guy, was really developing and turning into the guy that we all thought he was. So it's tough to see him. And with these rib injuries, Jacoby Ellsbury's years ago kept him out for the season. There's other guys that have bad ones that keep him out. I know you referenced someone earlier, Scott.
Yeah, Carlos Correa, I guess, had a similar injury in 2019, and it kept him out for 2 months. But he said it was a pain tolerance thing, too.
But played for a competitive team, though, right?
I believe, yeah. He might have been on the Twins by then, but no, he was probably still an Astro.
Okay. But either way, this is my developing take. Devers still isn't back yet.
Allegedly is going to DH tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. We've been told that a couple of days. So Devers is dealing with a shoulder and a knee. Trevor Story's out for the year. Casas has a rib issue that needs to be handled. You've lost, Pivetta for a period of time. You've now lost a couple of starters, Whitlock. It's not getting any better. But hypothetically, if you're without Story and Casas, and you're going to play the song and dance every night with Rafael Devers playing, might be time to maybe sit them all for the year. Ramp up for next season. And it will speed up moving on from Alex Cora. Again, they should be applauded for their record. And they've been competitive and had really good pitching. All that is true. What's also true is Alex Cora is not the right guy for this team and will not be here next year. And if you're without your star shortstop, I shouldn't even call him a star. You're without your shortstop, your third baseman, and your first baseman to start the year. I mean, these are some of your best players. Tank mode. The manager will go down with the ship. He'll have an excuse that ownership wasn't going to pay him, and he was in the final year of his deal. Maybe they get a better draft position. I don't know. I'm just telling you, the more injuries for this team, the worse it will get. But right now, the record's good, and they're competitive. I'll give them credit for that. How sustainable is this? Wilyer Abreu? How sustainable? And the Devers thing? Supposedly, he's back tomorrow. Last week, I went on, last week, I think it was a Thursday or Friday night, whatever night we were on, basically said he should go on a 10-day DL. So if that was Thursday, right? So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that's now 6 days he could have been on the DL. And they're still hoping he can play tomorrow? Not a good time for the old Red Sox. But again, everybody will look at the record and say, wow, look at a great job they're doing. I'll commend them a little bit for that. A little bit. But long term, no shortstop, no first baseman, no third baseman. Could be a long summer. I was just watching in one of the innings, they couldn't turn a double play because the shortstop couldn't get the ball out of his glove. Is that Rafaela? They've actually been okay with him at short. Anyways, developing thought. If the star players will not be here, why should the manager? But hey, they'll tell you everything's great. They're what are they? 13-10, or with the loss today, it's different. 13-11. The Red Sox. They're doing so good with all the injuries. Mm-hmm. That's not sustainable. 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray. We got the musings coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray's musings on this April, best time of year for us, at least, when it comes to games and then having no shows. So just react all night long. So for tonight's musing, I wanted to take you to another New England town, Cranston. That's where it is. And, there was a car crash so I don't know what it's like. But how do you crash into, like, what do? You lose control? Did you have an agenda? I mean, again, in my town of Rosendale, did you see the woman just crash right into the gasoline tank? Why? I don't know.
We get a little bit of an explanation in this one.
Oh, all right. Well, let's set it up then. There was a car crashed into a famous building in Cranston this morning.
Begins at a Dunkin' in Cranston, where a car crashed through the front of the building this morning. This happened around 6:30 on Reservoir Ave, not far from Cranston City Hall. Police say the driver had his learner's permit. The driver put the vehicle in drive instead of reverse, police say, and when he started going forward, he tried to hit the brake, but hit the gas instead.
All right. So we have an explanation for the crash. Somebody with their learner's permit put the car in park instead of reverse? Or drive instead of reverse. Huh. You got a permit not knowing that? I don't know. I went to driver's ed. Did you go to driving school?
Yeah, I went to driver's ed. I will say, though, the first time I ever drove a car was when the driving school car pulled into my driveway. And the guy was like, he's
like, get on in. And you were like, this is the first time I've ever been behind the wheel.
I was just like, yeah, I've driven before. Like, I was like, I've driven with my dad and stuff. And backed right out of the driveway. On we went. He never said anything. Passed on my first time. So,
wow, that's great.
Driving, I think it's pretty easy.
I had to do driving hours.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. That's where he picked me up.
Yeah, and it was hard because when you played sports, well, the only time I could go was like 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night.
Same exact situation. I got lucky, though. This guy lived a couple houses down from me. So I would always be his last ride of the night. He'd drop me off. He'd go on home. It worked for both of us. He was pumped.
Same thing for me. The guy would pick me up. He'd like do little drops. Who knows what he was dropping?
Got we used to listen to the Sports Hub. He was a big Sports Hub guy back in the day. So we would always be listening.
No, but we didn't have the Sports Hub when I was driving so long ago. But I did learn that if you want to back up and learn how to park, they put a little sticker on the little back thing that helped me line the cars up. Another car story. I was in the car business as a kid, and I had to go pick up a car. I get in it, and it's a stick shift. And I went, oh, boy. It was like a Dodge Neon, like standard shift. I'm on Route 9 in Framingham. And, man, I could smell. I was like, all right, well, I think I had to do this. I let go of the emergency brake, hit the clutch. Stall. And then all of a sudden it's like first gear. All right, I've watched these movies before, Gone in 60. But, yeah, the first time, I never learned how to drive stick shift. I one day had to get it in the car, and I learned the old-fashioned way. Learn by doing. Anyways, so learner's permit crashed into a Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, that's great. The poor kid crashed into a Dunkin'. Do you think they gave him a coffee or a donut or a munchkin? Like, oh, you little poor baby.
I don't know. I don't think so. Not in that situation.
Well, there was a man on the street. They found somebody on the street here, Skaz, to give to give their side of the story. Let's hear from, and this is just to set this up. This is a young person that they found on the street. A 15-year-old had something to say about the crash.
Instead, we spoke with a teen whose mother works in the building.
I'm happy she didn't get hit. Yeah. That would have not been good. I think they said like it was like a car malfunction. America doesn't just run on Dunkin', cars do too.
Oh! Did you hear that one?
I was just like, like America doesn't just run on Dunkin', cars do too.
So America just doesn't run on Dunkin'. Cars do too.
He gives like a little like wry smile afterwards too. Like, I just nailed that line.
I heard it was like a malfunction. No, the permit kid, gal, whatever, put it in drive and crashed. Now all the people in Cranston can't get their dunks this morning. Do you think they still operated? See, I feel like that's a real blue-collar thing. Don't worry about the car that's in our dining room.
In this, I will say, from the pictures and the video, this car is not like a little bit of the ways in the Dunkin' Donuts. This car is 3/4 of the way into the Dunkin' Donuts.
It's kind of like the I think you should leave when he's wearing the hot dog suit.
Who did this? We're all just trying to find the guy who did this.
That popped right in my head. Imagine if he was a ham dog.
Give me that.
I'll find who it was. Oh, God, I love that show.
We're all just trying to find the guy who did it.
Oh, it's so excellent. Happy 47th birthday to John Cena. Can't see me. We can see you, John. Especially, we definitely saw you at the, what was that, the Oscars? Oh, we saw you, bro. Gigi Hadid, 29 years old. William Shakespeare's birthday. He's not alive. Shirley Temple either. George Lopez, 63 years old today. Who else do we have for birthdays today?
Roy Orbison.
Ooh. 'Cause it's all right riding around in the breeze. Well, it's pretty woman. I don't want to talk about that guy. Who else? Any other birthdays today, Skaz?
Valerie Bertinelli. 64 years old.
Love that cooking show.
And also with a 47th birthday today, John Oliver.
Oh! Is his show still a thing?
I believe he hosts an HBO show on Sunday nights.
Huh. Kai Penn. Is that the Stoner movie guy?
Yes, that is Harold and Kumar.
Kumar. That's my guy.
Neil Patrick Harris. Yes.
That's my guy. Jamie King, 45 years old today. Chloe Kim, American gold medalist. That's it. Anything else?
Dev Patel from Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh, yes.
You saw that? That was
I
good.
like that movie. It's a really good one.
And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. We got some old school ones like James Buchanan, former president. But, yeah, not a great birthday day today.
All right. Well, we may have a surprise guest. We're waiting on that. I see you guys lined up on the phone lines as well. We'll get to you after the headlines.
WBCFM HD1 bus from the Town Fair Tire Studio, the home of the Bruins, Patriots, Revs, and Celtics.
Come on, Max, step back three is good.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Red Sox fall 4-1 tonight in Cleveland. Tanner Houck got the loss. He pitched well, though, in, seventh inning. That's when things got to him. So Sox lose 4-1. They did get a home run, though, from Wilyer Abreu. They're back at it tomorrow. At the NBA playoffs, right now, the Timberwolves over the Suns, 102-85. And the Pacers up on the Bucks, 74-67, the late game. Clippers and Mavericks. Bruins playing Toronto tomorrow night. Series tied at 1. Also, the Rangers got a 4-3 win over Washington tonight. They're up 2-0 in the series. Panthers and Lightning tied at 2. Jets have a 1-0 lead over Colorado, and Vancouver and Nashville just about to get going. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
It's not just the games. It's the preseason, the postseason, the drafts, the trades, front office drama, the locker room banter, and you talking all about
Blah,
it.
blah, 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 blah.
On Boston's home for sports.
But I appreciate you, sir, because you know what? You're a solid man from Peabody, and I live there.
Oh, man, I am you might say a night crawler. So this is very, very second nature to me to stay up late. But anyway, back in 1976, what was in Saugus on the southbound side? A Red Lobster.
Oh, were they giving away scallops and shrimp?
Well, a friend of mine used to fight me. I want to go to Red Lobster. And I'd say, no, we're going to Bickford's. And I'd say, I got the car. Guess where we're going? We're going to Bickford's.
And now they're both gone.
And now they're gone. Red Lobster. It was where the 99 is, right around that area.
Oh, I know where it is. Well, the old 99, it's gone. The 99 on Route 1's gone.
Get out.
Dude, it's out.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And our great sponsor here is Route 1 Grill House. It's right
Okay.
where that was. You go there. It's great. They got great ribs, great steak tips. Jeff's the owner.
Living in
Great
Peabody,
guy.
I hope you've been to Asia Taste, which is in Lowell Street.
Yes.
The Big White Plaza. Some of the best takeout you'll ever have.
Yeah, there's a takeout joint over there, too, pizza. Used to be, not Supino's, was it? Trying to think of what was over there. I live on the other side. I'm near, like, the Centennial side.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. Well, I grew up in Gardner Park and Emerson Park, so...
I grew up in Hyde Park.
And you grew up in Hyde Park.
And now I live in Peabody.
Great talking to you, Joe. I'll continue to listen. I love your show.
Thank you. We love the demographic. 18 to 49, very strong. 25 to 54, we could pick it up a little bit. But we support the 55 plus. No moral high ground here. Everybody's welcome. You can tell me what park you grew up on. 617-779-0985. That's the phone number if you want to jump aboard here tonight. So the Red Sox lost. Well, I feel like I need the Celtics back in my life.
Yeah, this break has been tough. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. And they're both right at 7. I was kind of hoping they were gonna stagger them a little bit.
What game are you working tomorrow night?
I'll be with you, Joe. Be doing a game recap on the website.
Is Jeremy in studio with us tomorrow?
Bruins are on the road, so Jeremy Conley will be in studio, and Matt Stenberg will be doing the Celtics game.
Wow.
We'll have a full house tomorrow night.
So tomorrow night we have 2 games. Then Thursday night we have the NFL draft, which is...
Can't wait.
I mean, and for you, like, is it difficult when we're in remote, or is it okay?
No, not for something like that. We're gonna have all hands on deck. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
When I'm at the scoreboard or Sylvan Street, is it hard?
That's when I get a little worried that you may have wandered away from the table, or people are. It's not so much you. It's the extracurriculars. It's
yes.
Everybody else.
And you do know that people just walk right up to me while I'm on the air.
Oh,
right?
I was on the street team for years. I remember I worked pre and post at Splitsville a lot of the time, and they'd be doing the post game show, and guys just walking up to Beetle and them, just trying to talk to them.
They literally, again, I'm at Cask and Flagon the other night, and someone's trying to talk to me. And I'm like, dude, I'm on the air. I'm on the air. Like, I don't go up to you at your job. JP and NP. Hi, JP.
Joe, I'm listening to this old demographic. Class of 77, Johnson High School. You got the old guys with you.
Dude.
We're there, Joe.
Hey, real quick. Earlier today, we talked, because we have Ryan Bell, our intern. I was trying to tell him about the ratings and how it's, 18 to 49, 18 to 34, 25 to 54. And Skaz goes, well, JP and NP's, he's not that demographic. And I went, you're right. We have a very strong 55 plus, and that doesn't count here.
64 going on 25, Joe.
What do you think the 60 plus ratings are in the show?
A lot better than it is on Toucher in the morning.
I didn't know.
It's not his crowd.
No,
but
not his crowd?
No.
Oh.
Not at all. Joe, you let everybody in, Joe. Oh, look at this. I'm on 95 South heading out into Attleboro, and it's Stop dead on the highway. Well, there you go.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. So, Joe, with the poor kid, he was looking for the drive-thru. New meaning, huh?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I missed that. What was that?
The poor kid at the Dunkin' Donuts. He was just looking for the drive-thru.
Have you been to that Cranston? I mean,
I know that one. It's in like a little plaza. If it's what I'm thinking of. He's lucky he didn't take out the whole thing. But 2 questions, Joe.
Yes.
Where you going for coffee? Are we going to Panera? We going to Cumberland Farms? They just raised it. Starbucks, they just opened one at South Station.
Okay, so you're talking near where you work, right?
Yeah, but they're all over.
You know what's funny? I used to work just a little bit down the street from you when I was a civilian. And there was this, it's right in downtown Crossing. It's an Italian brew. Right.
I got Cafe Nero behind me.
That's what it is, Cafe Nero. There you go.
You go in for a coffee, you leave with $75 worth of other stuff you didn't know you want, but it looks good. Joe, who are we picking at 3 tomorrow? Can we just end it? Just give me a name. Let me go put a prop bet. One name, done.
Drake May.
Thank you, Joe.
Not happy about it. Not happy about it.
I'll later bet. Hey, that felt good. You interviewing Dan. That's kind of like the old days. It kind of felt kind of nice, Joe.
You know what? I love Dan. Dan is welcome anytime. He's Daddy Lifshatz now. And I'm Daddy Nighttime. Or I'm the nighttime. I'm the nighttime daddy.
Tomorrow's going to be a fun show. Let's see how the draft goes.
Wait, what is tomorrow? Is tomorrow Wednesday?
Oh, no. Thursday.
So Thursday's wait, tomorrow's Wednesday, bro.
Hey, can we get the damn draft here seriously?
Hey, you driving home right now?
I'm not moving.
Oh yeah, you're stuck, right? I've heard about. I heard today was a bad traffic day everywhere.
It's completely shut down. 95 South, just between Attleboro, heading into It's literally shut down completely, Joe. Maybe they're getting ready for Messi to come in already. They're getting spots. Who knows?
Yeah, you going to that?
No, I'll bet on it, but I'm not going.
Do we have a line on that?
We need a line, Joe. Thanks.
It's going to be Miami like -2.5 or something.
It's funny. I looked at Ryan Bell when it happened. Like, hey, Ryan.
I love the Revolution announcers, though. Is it Charlie? Talk about not sugarcoating and calling a game. Calls the Revolution players out, the coaches out. I love it. I think it's Charlie the color commentator.
Yeah, oh, you got a muffler situation going on over there. You hear that?
Oh, yeah, motorcycles weaving in and out, Joe. We're going to play by
out on that. Moving. By the way, I hate that. Like, why can't...
Oh, hell yeah.
What? So what, a motorcycle has special preference over everybody else?
No, open the door up like in... what was it, Bad Boys? They open the door, boom, stops the guy. There you go.
Have you seen any of the latest Bad Boys, 3 or 4?
No, I have not.
Me either.
But I am interested in looking like they're doing a remake of The Mummy. I like it. They're going to go watch the original one coming out. Big fan of it.
All right, bro. All right, JP, we'll be tomorrow night. We got 2 games, but we have the full draft on Thursday night. And we'll be at 6 String at Gillette Stadium at Patriot Place.
Tomorrow night or Thursday?
Thursday night of the draft.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. It's JP. Thank you to our 55-plus. You met... So, what did I say? What did I say? Split... 6 String. Damn. Splitsville! I got to get that right. I've told 15 people where I'm going to be, and they're like, where is that?
You got about 35 hours to get it right.
Why do I keep doing that? It used to be that, though, right? Or there used to be that over there? I've been there before. Whatever.
Breaking news, Joe Murray, no longer a civilian.
Did I say that? I did, didn't I?
Back when I was a civilian.
I did, huh? Whenever I talk to, like, my buddies in the military, that's how they talk. Well, now I get a civilian job. It's like, So what? You're not a civilian? Well, technically they're not. I guess now I'm not a civilian anymore. Got to go to break. We were expecting a guest. Let's see what happens. Maybe we'll take a break if they call. We'll find out. Next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
The Sports Hub, I'm Joe Murray. We've been doing a little bit of Celtics talk. It's playoff season. Got Game 2 versus the Miami Heat tomorrow night. And let's go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline right now. Welcome in former Boston Celtic. He's going to be doing an event at the world-famous Kowloon coming up on May 1st. It is Glenn Big Baby Davis joining us here in Boston on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Glenn, how are you tonight, bud?
What's going on, man?
You all locked into the playoffs and watching the Celtics in the first round here?
Oh my God, hell yeah! I gotta watch, bro. I think this is the year. I've been watching all year. Porzingis has been a big lift for us, and hopefully Drew Holiday locks in and give us that veteran leadership that we need.
So you mentioned Porzingis. What did you think at the time when the Celtics traded Marcus Smart and acquired Porzingis? Did you think they did Smart dirty, or did you feel like it was a true upgrade and really the best move for the team?
I really think what Marcus Smart held, right, what he had as far as just what he brought to the team, I think it got out of control, and we had to figure it out. And we had to make another move to get a guy that was more of a closer, right, and also can play defense. And when you think about Drew Holiday, he can close games, he can score at a high level when we need him to, but also he brings defensive presence. And I think that's what we were missing with Marcus. He's a streaky player. We don't know if he's going to have a great game or, also okay game. And I think bringing Drew and Porzingis kind of gave us that clutch, more guys to contribute in the clutch when we need it to help Jalen and Jason, make big buckets.
All right, Glenn, we'll get into the big event you got going on at Kowloon coming up in a little bit, but I just wanted to ask you some Celtics questions quickly. Well, what are your thoughts on the progression of Tatum and Brown, the duo? Obviously, last year they lose at home in a Game 7. They have bounced back. They're both going to get supermax contracts here, but are they the best duo in the NBA? And do you think this is the year that they finally get over the hump?
You know what? I think this is the year that they finally get over the hump. Right? We think about all the trials and tribulations that they have. Right? They had so much experience of playing in the playoffs, playing in the finals. And we know what we need. And I think it's time for one of them to be able to pull us over the hump. And I think if they can pull us over the hump, then it's a different ball game, right? Because now we get those clutch buckets that Paul Pierce. You remember Paul Pierce used to make clutch buckets. Yep. Ray used to hit clutch buckets, right? There was moments in games where you can tell that the best player was out there on the floor. And those are the moments that we need to have in clutch, right? We can't go games with like Jason Tatum not scoring the ball or not playing well, right? He has to be able to play well, right? And find a way, and I think that's what happened. We all found a way. And that's how we won the championship.
Yeah, Glenn, that's what I was going to ask you, man. Do you see any similarities from the championship teams that you played on to this team now? I know demeanor-wise, there's no KG in the mix, but do you see any similarities between the both teams?
I see guys like Jaylen Brown and Tatum as like Ray and Paul type like scorers, right? One might not, we don't have the Ray 3-point, but these guys demand and control on the offensive side. They're a big part of what they do, and I think that's what we had also too, right? And then, with Porzingis, I think Porzingis and Al kind of complement each other, right? You got the defensive-minded guy who can play, hit shots, Al, and you got Porzingis who could score. So, I think that, is a mixture of like KG and, Perk in a way, but more weapons, you know what I mean? So I think if they can lock up on the defensive side like they've been doing all year,
But also when it matters, man, make the plays that count. And I think that's what Tatum and Jalen have to do. And if they don't, I feel like the Celtics got to break them up. You know what I mean?
Yep. Talking to Glenn Big Baby Davis here on 98.5 The Sports. He's going to be at the world-famous Kowloon on May 1st, one of my favorite restaurants. I know the menu, Glenn. Let me tell you, man. I've been there a few times. A couple more for you. Do you think there's a player in the league now that is like how you played? Like, obviously, it's more of a scoring league, and you really turned into a pretty good shooter, man. Like, you were Big Baby in the post, playing in a Final Four to really a nice little shot. Do you see any players in the league that remind you of yourself?
You know what? You talk about my position. It's, the power forward, right? What is that now, right? Is that a 3 guy who can play the 4? Is it I think that's what that position is now. So you don't really see a lot of guys like big built like me, right? There's that one kid in Utah, Keith Lawford, Lofton.
Yep.
Right? Big kid, plays played at Memphis. Now he plays in the Philadelphia G League team. He's a big body, but he can just play, right? He can just he can play the game, at that size, but fast pace. There's not a lot of guys like me, right? So the game has changed, and every 10 years you're going to see the game change and morph to what championship basketball, what they think, or whoever won the championship in a way. It's going to morph, right? The Spurs start winning the championship, the game changed. Draymond Green was he's not a power forward. He's more like a weird power point, right? And then now you got guys shooting threes, right? Championship team shooting threes, and the game morph. And so guys like me are lost. So hopefully, the game come back and guys like me, find their place again,
Yep. I wanted to ask you about Doc Rivers. I know you had a very interesting career with him, 2 different stops. What are your thoughts on Doc when you look back at it? And, do the Bucks have a shot this year either?
I think Doc, my thought process on Doc is, he has to understand what type of coaching style today's game needs, because I don't think he resonates with the players as much as he thinks he does, because I feel like he's on a different time frame. The guy's one of the oldest coaches in the league now. You know what I mean? I don't know a coach older than him. And then also I just think, the situation he's in, it's a tough situation to go in there, take somebody's job that was a friend of yours and, try to make it look good when everybody's talking about you. It's hard to win a championship when you got that bad juju going around, So hopefully I think in the clutch, Doc's not going to make it happen. I don't think so. I think just what I know, what I've seen, what I've been around, I've seen a 3-1 lead turn into we lose. I've seen him lose game 7s. I've experienced those things. And I think, in order for him to get back to the promised land, he has to he has to change his way of thinking and culture that he's trying to build, because it's too old school.
Do you think that's what happened with the Clippers, with you and him?
With the Clippers, Doc was in a situation that was too big, right? He couldn't fit he couldn't fit the shoes, right? Being the president and having to make decisions, but also being the coach and trying to figure out who's to play and how to play them. Right? You think about Spencer Hawes that year, right? He was the president. That was his first sign. One of the worst signs that he probably ever did. You know what I mean? Yep. With that team. You know what I mean? And when you think about it, he had to play Spencer. So a guy like me, he can put me on the bench because he know what I can do. And that's what he did. He put me on the bench the whole year and then played me in the playoffs.
All right. And I was going to say, everyone has that love-hate relationship with their coach, right? You love him, but you hate him.
Yeah. And so Doc is he's just an old coach that's time to hang it up. That's what I think. It's time to hang it up. I hope we do play them in the playoffs because I think he's going to let us win.
Glenn Big Baby Davis joining us here on 98.5 The Sports. One last one. What do you think of Joe Mazzulla? What kind of guy, what kind of coach do you think he is, and is he the right guy to get the Celtics over the hump?
You know what? I'm all for Joe, right? I've been knowing Joe for a long time, watched him play at West Virginia. A hard-working guy that got an opportunity to do something big. And I think he's been doing a good job. I think this team was already primed and ready for this type of basketball. But he's been able to keep up and be able to push them and maximize the talent that he has there. And that's a special thing. So, I'm all for him. I like the guy. He's always been great to me and, inviting all the old guys to practice and, being a part of the program. He gives back to the past. I think he's a great guy, man. He's going to grow as a coach, and I think we're going to be able to see him grow as a coach because of what happened last year.
All right, Glenn Big Baby Davis is going to be at Kowloon on May 1st. It's a Celtics watch party. I know you'll be there. There's $10 admission to start. All the tickets are through Elite Promotions as well, but there's a VIP, which I recommend. But there's going to be a dinner buffet, a chance to get autographs, photos with you. What else you got going on that night?
Yeah, man, you gotta come check us out, man. May 1st, Kowloon, man. Your boy Big Baby's gonna be in the building, man. And I gotta be by the buffet. I gotta eat the buffet. I'm gonna be walking around. We might do a little karaoke, meet and greet. Hopefully we get to try my new strand. Some of my fans get to try my cannabis strand.
What do you got?
Yeah.
Are you sativa? What are you?
Oh yeah, I'm a heavy indica.
Indica. Okay.
Yeah, it's elephant. Sleep medicine. That's what I call it.
Wow, and we can get that at retail. Are they out in Boston?
Yeah. It'll be in dispensaries in Mass.
All right.
Literally May 5th.
All right. So you got a whole promotion going on this week, but
hell yeah, man! I'm coming back, man. Visit the people out there, man, and enjoy the game, watch the game, and watch these guys win a fucking champion. Excuse my French, a championship. Sorry.
It's all good here. Real quick, I got to tell you about Kowloon. So it's been around for over 75 years. They got indoor, outdoor. But I don't know what your favorite Polynesian drink or your Chinese food, but you got to try the Saugus wings, okay? They're known for this.
Saugus wings?
Dude, the sauce, my man. I eat the wings with the sauce, and then I pour the sauce on my rice. I dip my crab rangoon in it. I'm telling you, best Chinese food in the area, and they're going to treat you like a god, your Big Baby. There's been athletes there, wrestlers there over the years, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a great spot. You're going to have a hell of a time that night, my man.
Man, I'm excited, man. I'm super excited.
Well, what was your favorite restaurant in the area, by the way, when you were back home? What do you like around here?
Oh, my God, man. I used to like so many, man. I don't know if you remember, man. It used to be something called News Cafe.
Oh.
And when I tell you, brother, they had the best steak tips in the world. Do you hear me? Yeah. The world. Tony Allen took me there my first time there.
Oh, you got any stories of him on the airplane playing poker?
Yeah, man, I got fun. Yeah, my first time going there, man, I thought Tony Allen was the most crazy person ever, man. I've watched, we were outside of the place, and Tony Allen got punched in the face. I was like, why you got punched in the face, Tony? I was like, he was like some fan. And then I knew, I was like, oh, Tony Allen's a crazy guy, man. He got punched in the face the first day I met him, man. Somebody sucker punched him. I was like, oh, shit. Oh, excuse me.
It's all right. This is why we got to go to the Kowloon show on May 1st to go watch Big Baby. It's a Celtics watch party. It's $10 admission, $50 for general admission with the dinner buffet, a photo op, also a I recommend the VIP, right? You get the early.
Yeah, come to the VIP with me.
Guaranteed seating, dinner buffet, autographs, player photos. You got it all here at the Kowloon, and it's all through Elite Promotions. It's May 1st at the Kowloon. You'll get better stories than you did on the radio. And don't worry, you can swear at the Kowloon. No problem there. You can get all the stories.
Yeah. I'll say that for the Kowloon.
You got it. Big Baby, appreciate you, man. Love hearing you in Boston. And we look forward to meeting you at Kowloon on May 1st, my man. Appreciate your time.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Got it. He's Big Baby. Glenn Davis joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and he'll be at a watch party at Kowloon May 1st. $10 admission only. No guaranteed seating for that. I recommend the VIP. It's $75. There is a general admission for $50 as well, but you get the early entry, the dinner buffet itself. Okay, let me tell you, the Kowloon dinner buffet, they don't skimp on that thing. You get everything. You want the beef, or you get the beef and broth. You want the soggy wings, you get it. Chicken fingers, rangoons, the poo-poo platters, you name it. They do it right, and I'm telling you, these events, they did them with the Bruins. They've been doing them with the Celtics as well. They have been crushing big turnouts. It's the spot. Easy parking. You walk upstairs. You get the entry. You get to meet the athletes. They tell their stories. It's a hell of a time. You get autographs. You get photos. It's an awesome time. And Glenn Davis, very fun guy. We only had to dump him a couple of times. Only a couple. You won't have to. You can let loose a little bit at the Kowloon. So appreciate Glenn Big Baby Davis for joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. You love that Doc stuff, didn't you, Skaz?
He does not like Doc Rivers.
I got texts from multiple people about that.
I got a text from one Tim McCone
there we
about
go.
that.
Oh, Tim McCone?
Yes.
The new third chair on 98.5 The Sports Hub middays? Tim McCone from Worcester, Mass? The McCone Zone? The McCone late breaker, the breaking news sounder, that guy who used to work a lot here at night is now going to be on middays? Wow. Congratulations, Tim. And thank you to Big Baby and everybody over at Elite Promotions and the Kowloon as well for helping us out get Big Baby on tonight.
He does not like Doc Rivers.
We got to go to break. I'm Joe Mario. Let's get to the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox 4-1 losers tonight. Tanner Houck got the start. He got the loss, too. He pitched well. Didn't deserve the loss. Wilyer Abreu hit a home run. Teams will meet again tomorrow night. At the NBA playoffs, right now the Pacers have a 105-92 lead over the Bucks. Mavs up 18-11 over the Clippers, and the T-Wolves got a 105-93 win over the Suns. They're up in the series 2-0. The Bruins are in Toronto tomorrow night. They will be without Andrew Peak, though. Rangers get a 4-3 win over Washington. They're up 2-0 in that series. Lightning and Panthers tied at 2 in overtime. Winnipeg with a 1-0 lead over Colorado, and Nashville 1-0 over Vancouver. Headlines, they are brought to you by our good friends over at Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your next drive-through oil change. And Valvoline Instant Oil Change now open in Franklin, Billerica, and Peabody. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update is tomorrow.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe.
Dolphins, of course, but, what did you expect? I actually think he'd be a pretty good person to go see. He's entertaining. And I wanted to bring up, he played in the Final Four. He was a dominant post player at LSU, brought him all the way.
It was George Mason, right?
Yeah, and he was named, he's Big Baby because of basically Baby Shaq, followed in that footsteps. And when he got drafted, we got to hear more Tony Allen poker stories. You know what, guys? I never know. I never know if I should ask or not, so I do it anyways. That's the thing with me. I probably brought the story up, but rest in peace, Bill Buckner. I had a chance to interview Bill Buckner, and I'm like, all right, well, what am I going to talk to Bill Buckner about? So what do? I talk about what happened in the bottom of the ninth inning in 1986. And he goes, that's been covered before, Joe. I tried. The Doc Rivers stuff. Whoa. Hopes they play them so they can bury them. It's good stuff. Good stuff right there, and got to go check them out at Kowloon. This guy's the Kowloon buffet, bro. I'm talking all the fixins. We got to get you up there some night.
Yeah, I think this summer.
Yeah, we'll get you up there. Give you the tour. Well, Big Baby's going to be there May 1st, everybody. Tickets are available through Elite Promotions. Go get them. VIP is what I recommended. You get the whole kit and caboodle. So before we get out of here tonight, I got a couple of things on the notes here, Skaz, that I don't think we're going to get to. But I had Bruins Game 3, same old defense. J.J. McCarthy was on the Adam Schefter pod today. He says he met with the Patriots. Met with Patriots owner Robert Kraft, excuse me. Again, the Kraft's not involved. Jonathan Kraft, not involved. Just want everyone to know that. Said Kraft was the coolest, smoothest guy I've met in a long time. Just being able to know that you're in good hands when the Kraft family's running the whole thing. See? They're running the whole thing. And obviously, Coach Mayo has been a part of the success over the years and what he's building and feeling. That's what I got when I stepped on to Michigan. A sense of urgency to rebuild the culture, rebuild the team to where they want to get it to and where they are. I wrote a story today. It's on 985thesportshub.com. It's short and sweet. We talked about it last night. But the article is Jonathan Kraft's involvement with the Patriots. I'm going to tell you, I feel like they've been lying to us a little bit. There were a lot of buzzwords this offseason. Collaborative, vibe, handing over the keys to Elliott Wolf. Of course, a recent report mentions that Jonathan Kraft is heavily involved with the decision-making. We first heard about the Kraft's involvement from Seth Wickersham and Wright Thompson at the end of the season, mentioning that they heard that Robin Glazer and Jonathan Kraft were involved. These were refuted by some people. Tommy Curran mentions that the Patriots, why would they get involved now? Scott Zolak today said that Jonathan Kraft is not heavily involved in football. Robert Kraft went on to say this offseason that they are not involved in football matters because they want to hold people accountable. It's all well and good. Well, why not just say you're involved with the biggest draft in 30 years? Countless times this offseason, it was refuted Jonathan Kraft had any involvement. The local media seems to support the Krafts while others have been validated outside of Foxborough, and I stand by that. The way this offseason has gone for the Krafts and for Gerard Mayo, I'm telling you right now, you're going to see the same results on the football field this year. Shaky. We'll wrap this show up on the other side. We'll tell you what we got going on tomorrow, and we'll do all that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. The final hour has been brought to you by Dulce Vita Tequila, America's #1 selling organic tequila. Try their Blanco Reposado and Anejo or their flavored tequilas like grapefruit, pineapple, jalapeno, and lime. Dulce Vita Spirits, Austin, Texas. Tequila, pure and simple. Viva Dulce Vita. Responsibly. Tomorrow night, we have 2 games. So we have the Celtics in action. They'll be on 92.9. And then we have the Bruins Leafs game 3 right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Skaz and I will be working the Bees game. McCarthy will be here tomorrow night as well. So we got a full house. So 2 different stations, same family. But we'll be here all night long, and we got you till midnight tomorrow night to react to both games. So we have that. I wanted to just mention, I wanted to ask Big Baby about the Scalabrini Code Red thing. I don't want to mention the show's name because then they're probably going to call us with the fireball and everything. But, man, they're really using this Scalabrini Code Red thing. Like, they've gotten a hold of it.
Well, they know their season's going to be over soon, so you got to use
looking,
all the content
They're
you
looking
can.
for something. So some of the comments were that Scalabrini was worse than some other players. Like, they're now attacking Scalabrini's basketball ability.
I mean, that's what you got to do, though. I mean, the Heat season, I think, is going to be over shortly, so use the content while you got it.
There are some guys that weren't great players that are great analysts. There's some great analysts that were great. Well, and that's not really a lot of great players who are great analysts, are they? No. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, Skaz. Thank you, Ryan Bell, tonight as well. Thank you to Glenn Big